I've written 50 books for children. I do workshops. I also teach. I believe that I have the best job in the world because I write for children. So when I come to speak at any function and I see a lot of children, I don't actually see the children. I always think in my audience there may be a future Prime Minister. There may be a president. There will surely be some cabinet ministers, some members of parliament, many CEOs, and every single child will be a parent and a decision maker. So what I speak, I hope, is going to plant a seed so that some, VIG, myself, we are all in the evening of our lives. The sun is surely setting. But all of you, the sun is just beginning to rise. You are surely the future of this country. And that is why I think that my job is so important. The things that I say and your opinions are so important. Why is it important to write and to read? Nowadays, I have children too, I have grandchildren. Nobody likes to read. Everybody likes to read the newspaper on the internet. And they like to spend time reading the news on the iPhone. I think it is very important to read because reading teaches you communication. Whatever job you have to be a good communicator. Even if you are a businessman, you are a doctor, you are a lawyer, however good your ideas, you have to communicate your ideas effectively. If you don't communicate your ideas effectively, nobody is going to understand them. Which is why I say, even if you are not going to be a professional writer, whatever language you may be, it doesn't have to be English. Even though I'm speaking in English, I must emphasize English is the language of the British. We have many wonderful languages in our own country. Be proficient, be a good communicator in your own language. That is very important. But learn to speak well and to communicate well. So people ask me, how do I find a story? I want to write a story, but I don't know how to write. So I tell everyone, there is a story everywhere. In fact, all of you are in a way a storyteller. For example, if you don't want to go to school on some day, you have to make up a story. So you can't tell them that I felt lazy or I went for a marriage and there was a shadi in my house. So the first story will be, you will make your father write a leave letter. Oh, my child had this and my child, and then you go to the doctor and tell the doctor Saab that I need a medical certificate. And then when you go to school, you'll make a sad face and look very tired so that the teacher will believe that you have been sick and will not know that you've actually gone for a shadi. So all of you know how to tell a story. It's just that I am a professional storyteller. So transform that ability to tell a story so that it works for you. What do you use? I find stories everywhere. There are stories about buildings, about trees, about animals, about inanimate objects. For example, about trees. Once I was writing a story about a banyan tree, and just like everyone else, I thought the banyan tree grows from a seed. But then I did some research and then I found out that the seed of the banyan tree is taken by a bird and eaten. And the bird flies and deposits on the top of a palm tree. So the banyan tree, the seed actually germinates at the top of the palm tree, and then it grows down, the roots grow down, and then the banyan tree is a murderer because the banyan tree then kills the palm tree and then clutches the palm tree and then grows around it. So if ever you see a banyan tree anywhere, if you look carefully, you will find a palm tree without any top. That was the horse, and that was how the palm tree nurtured the banyan, but then the banyan overtook the palm tree. So that is the story of a plant. Wherever I go, even this building that we are, I ask them, who built this building? What is the history of this building? In what age was it built? Can you imagine all the people who gone through this building? Who were the workers? Who was the architect? Who planned it? So there is a story in almost every object. There is a clock in my house, a very old clock. It was gifted to me. It doesn't work very well, so my family members are a bit irritated. It doesn't keep good time. When I saw the movie The Titanic, I saw the movie, there was a still of Leonardo DiCaprio and the clock was there, and then I realized it was 100 years old. So I wrote a story. In the 100 years before it came to me, where did the clock go? So now when my husband tells me, oh, why is it? I said, if you were 100 years old, you can give 15 or 20 minutes. So so even a table has a story. Especially, I love old things, which is why I was so excited to go to stay in Colonel Karminder Singh's house. Everything is old. So the whole house is full of stories. Even a piece of furniture, if it's 400 years old, try to think, who owned it? Where do you think it has come from? Somebody built it. Who do you think is the carpenter who made it? So I find stories everywhere. Wherever I go, I collect stories. Because stories, our whole history is actually a story. The other thing I want to tell you is to be a good communicator is to listen. There is a difference between hearing and listening. If you have ears, you can hear. For example, involuntarily we are hearing the sound of mama, we can hear the fans. But if you are listening, it means you are paying attention to what the person is saying. And you are trying to take from the person's speech what is of interest to you. We always listen, is this interesting to me, or is this just something boring which is not going to be of any use to me? That is listening. That is listening. Hearing is just the auditory part. So to all students I say, be a good listener. Because there's always something to learn from people, no matter who they are. Our history is full of people who are good listeners. You must have heard of Chanakya. He was a famous political analyst and he was the founder of the Maurya kingdom. So when they started taking over the kingdom, they used to attack all the smaller principalities and then they didn't have a proper plan. Then one day Chanakya sent out some spies all over the kingdom, and he came to a hamlet and a lady was sitting there and feeding her grandchild a chapati. And then the child was breaking the chapati from the center and eating it. So the grandmother said, don't be like Chanakya. He is trying to take the kingdom by attacking the capital. Eat your chapati from this outside and then eat the center. So Chanakya said, this is what I am doing wrong. Instead of attacking a king's capital, I am going to attack all the smaller towns. And when all the smaller towns fail, then I am going to take the capital. And he did that, and that was how the Maurya kingdom was founded. So Chanakya was a great listener. So I exhort all of you to listen. Now this is going to be an interactive session. I'm not going to stand here and speak. So I want you to ask me any questions about writing, Do not worry too much about your percentage. I have two children. Both went to Ivy League schools, but I was never worried that they should get 95%. If any of you, and I'm sure most of you at some time or the other are going to travel to a foreign country, many of you will join a foreign university for a short-term course, for a long-term course. Remember they are more interested in who you are as a person and not that you have got only 95 marks. Be a good communicator, cultivate many interests, and most importantly, help your community. That is very important, which is why I think the work that is done here is so laudable, because it's an excellent example of helping your community and enhancing your own community. Now, are there any questions that you would like me to answer before I talk a little more? Generally about your own writing, about what you read. If you don't read, why do you not read?
Anybody wants to ask some questions? GGS kids, बच्चे जिन्हें साढ़े बाहरों आए ने सवाल जरूर पूछन ताकि मैम थोड़े सवाल के जवाब दे सकें. माइक उन्होंने को हैगा तुसी प्लीज हाथ खड़े करना ते सवाल जरूर पूछिए आपका. Don't be shy.
Yeah, don't be shy, please.
In fact, ਜੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਸਵਾਲ ਪੁੱਛੋਗੇ ਸ਼ਾਇਦ ਮੈਂ ਪ੍ਰਿੰਸੀਪਲ ਮੈਮ ਨੂੰ ਕਹਾਂ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਕੁਝ ਐਕਸਟਰਾ ਮਾਰਕਸ ਦੇਣਗੇ ਫਾਈਨਲਸ 'ਚ. So maybe let's see if you ask questions. Here we go. Very good. Please take the mic. Thank you.
I want to ask you what inspired you to write books, or what was the incident that inspired you to do so?
Actually, you know, I've been interested in writing right from the time I was a small girl. I never wanted to be an engine driver, an astronaut, a cinema star, none of those. I always was interested in books, and I always wanted to write and communicate. But now, as I do more, I think I'm into my profession even more, because we live in a beautiful country. Everywhere we go, there are stories. So yes, the other thing I want to tell you is you can be a writer and be something else as well. You can be a doctor and a writer. You can be an engineer and a writer. It's not like being a tennis player that after 30 your knees start paining and you can't play tennis. You can write books till you are 100. Yeah, thank you so much.
राइट साइड के बच्चे ने तो फिर भी कोई सवाल पूछे ने. लेफ्ट वाले ਨੂੰ ਕੀ ਹੋਇਆ ਬਈ ਦੇਖੋ ਇਧਰੋਂ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਰੈੱਡ ਜੈਕਟਸ ਇੰਨੇ ਸਮਾਰਟ ਲੱਗ ਰਹੇ ਨੇ ਬਲੇਜ਼ਰਸ 'ਚ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਚੋਂ ਹੁਣ ਮੈਂ ਇੱਕ ਬੱਚੇ ਨੂੰ ਜ਼ਰੂਰ ਰਿਕੁਐਸਟ ਕਰਾਂਗਾ ਕਿ ਜ਼ਰੂਰ ਇੱਕ ਸਵਾਲ ਪੁੱਛੇ. Smart children in the red blazers, will you come up and speak something please? Ask a question, any question. Very good. Give him a big hand.
Respected Principal Ma'am, teachers, and all my dear friends, a very good morning to one and all. I am Gurvinder from NBSD Public School. Ma'am, tell us. कई कहते हैं कि हमें किताबी कीड़ा नहीं बनना चाहिए, तो कई कहते हैं हमें बुक्स पढ़नी चाहिए. इनमें डिफरेंस क्या है कि हमें किताबी कीड़ा बनना चाहिए या नहीं?
I think you should read and do other things as well. But I think you must read, because reading is the most important skill. But I would say don't be a bookworm. Definitely not. Read and do other things as well.
Thank you, ma'am.
Please tell me about your own interest in reading. Like, what are the kind of books you read, books that you like? Yes. Yes.
जिन्होंने सवाल पूछा सी बेटा मैं दोबारा दूसरा गल कर रहा मैम ਤੁਹਾਡਾ ਇਹ ਪੁੱਛਣੇ ਨੇ ਤੁਹਾਡਾ ਰੀਡਿੰਗ ਤੋਂ ਇਲਾਵਾ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਹੋਰ ਕੀ ਇੰਟਰਸਟ ਹੈਗੇ ਨੇ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਪਰਸਿਊ ਕਰਦੇ ਹੋ?
मैम इंटरस्ट का बहुत ने एंकरिंग भी स्कूल से करने का इंटरस्ट है, बोलने का चाह है. मतलब
You are a very good speaker. So please keep it up. Someday you will be an MP for sure.
Thank you, ma'am.
बॉयज ने सवाल पूछे ने साड़ियाँ बेटियां पिछे रह रही ने. मैंने बड़ा कंसर्न है बेटियां तो बॉयज तो कितने ज़्यादा मार्क्स ले रही ने. And I'd like to see some of the girls asking the questions. I'm not with us. Please ask something. I don't let down GGS because you are the host, hosting the event. Very good. Thank you.
Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning. Yes.
Then sometimes I feel demotivated and I'm just so confused. So, like, what can I do so I can motivate myself?
I think we all feel confused very often. So don't get discouraged. discouraged. I think that means you are a very normal person, just like everyone else. So sometimes, even though I've been writing for so many years, there are days when I just don't feel like writing. I just leave it. And I do something else. Go for a movie, maybe go and do some shopping, or play with my pets. So if you don't feel motivated, don't give up. Don't give up. The important thing, the people who succeed are not those who are cleverer than us. They are those who have staying power, who don't give up. So the important thing is not to give up. Even with your studies, if you find that you don't do very well once, it doesn't mean that it's over, especially in an exam. The exams are not the end of the world. So if you don't get good marks, it means that you should try to improve. So don't get demoralized and say, oh, my whole world has ended. No, it is going to get better. It's actually, a failure is a stepping stone to do better.
I also write in my journals and also read it.
Yes. I wish you all the very best. Do well. Thank you.
Good morning, ma'am.
Yes.
This is prize
Where
for
is
you.
she?
Thank you.
Oh, there only. Yes, yes.
Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning.
Ma'am, today I have listened very well what you have told the people. But the thing that I have noticed is that your English is extraordinary. Actually, many times many teachers praised me that I speak very good English, but now I'm realizing that you are really so much perfect. You know, your accents, your pronunciation, everything in you is so good. So, ma'am, what's the secret behind?
Thank you so much. He told me that I can speak a little Hindi. Now, why I didn't is because my Hindi is so horrible.
No, but your ma'am pronunciation is extraordinary.
Yes.
To be honest, ma'am, to be honest.
Thank you so much. And it's everything. I think now, when you're a small child, we don't teach a small child a language. They listen and they automatically learn the words. So that's how you learn to speak very good English. So watch a lot of English movies, because there you will find a lot of accents, different accents. Watch TV shows, Discovery, Lonely Planet, so that you can get the different accents and the intonation, and of course me. But I must emphasize, English is still the language of the British.
But I'm very passionate about going in foreign countries. That's the reason I was asking this question.
Yes, that is very true. And I must tell you, one of my children, the elder one, he lives in the United States, and he tells me he's from IIT, and his main rivals are the Chinese, who are very good technically. But he tells me, Mommy, thanks to you, I speak better English than they do. So he said whenever there's a presentation with the CEO, he's always called because his English is very good. Whereas the Chinese, the English is a little faulty. So even if you are not planning to travel to a foreign, to live in a foreign country or to a university, now the world is becoming smaller. In the next 20 years, our country is going to be a superpower. There is no doubt about that. Many of you, even if you live in Sangrur, are going to have to interact globally. So it's good if you speak fantastic English.
But ma'am, thank you so much for giving
Thank
this
you so
answer
much.
to me.
Thank you so much. Yes. Thank you so much for inviting me here. It was so refreshing to see all of you, to listen to you. I give you my best wishes. And as I said, I hope someday I'll read in the paper that so-and-so has become an MP from Sangrur, and then I will be old by then, but still